What's going on, traders? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is March 31st, 2021, another month and another quarter in the books. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm if you just click that like button. Today we're going to talk about the price action in the indices. We'll go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors. We're going to talk about some of my trades for the day, and then we'll also wrap up with some options order flow. Before I jump into that, quick risk disclaimer. As always, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any single one of my trades. All right, let's jump into today's price action. We had the S&P 500 finish up 0.41%. We had the NASDAQ QQQ finish up 1.53%. We had the IWM small caps finish up 1.34%. And last but not least, we had the Dow Jones finish, down 0.19%. So it's really interesting about a month-end price action, or really quarter-end, is it's very tough to take the moves that you're seeing at face value. Like, I do like to think, okay, we're in a better spot for growth stocks and all that, but I'm just trying to take everything with a grain of salt and really take it day by day. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. We had a nice comeback for some of these growth names. S&P 500, if you look right here, we had a really nice rally. At one point, we tagged this 5-day exponential moving average. Yeah, we broke out of this monthly value area, and we've had, really in the grand scheme, a couple of days of consolidation. At one point, we came so close to tagging the 4,000 mark. You can see here, we're at 39.83.28, and we came in a little bit towards the end of the day, not the end of the world. We'll have to see. Starting tomorrow, we're going to have a new monthly value area. You can see it right here. So we'll have to see. A lot of times there are some inflows that come into the market on the first of the month. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow with that. Let's take a look at our QQQ. And you can see here, the Qs also looked incredibly strong for most of the day. There was just this constant bid in the tech stocks. And you can see here, they traded right up to that 50-day moving average, and they hit resistance at the 50-day. They came back in a little bit. But we are definitely seeing some more constructive price action in the Qs. They had that big fall over here where they broke down below the monthly value area. But ever since then, there's been a lot of fear related to the NASDAQ stocks, but not really much in the way of, downside follow-through. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. I'm definitely getting a lot more constructive on these technology stocks in relation to the reopening plays. And we talked about that quite a bit in today's pre-market session. So we have the Qs, and we're going to pull up the IWM, take a look at our small caps. Small caps as well jumped back into this monthly value area, which is good. They rallied almost up to that 20-day simple moving average. And they also, sold off into the end of the session, closed right on that 50-day moving average. So with IWM also, these small caps, we made a high and then our first higher low. And then you can see now this is a slightly higher high. So it does appear, a lot of times when there are these sell-offs, you almost get like PTSD where, you're always looking around the corner oh, when's the next sell-off going to come? You're kind of waiting. We are starting to see more constructive price action, I would say. And really my measure of that is, we're making higher lows and higher highs, which is a good thing. So we have the IWM and then the Dow Jones. Dow Jones has been leading, for the past couple months. And you can see the Dow Jones is actually pretty extended here, even from the 20-day simple moving average. You can see it got, well beyond the monthly value area for March. The Dow closed towards the lows of the day, so that's quite different. This is something I talked about where, Today we got the unveiling of the infrastructure package, and a lot of times with these rotations, they sort of end with like a catalyst or, some sort of sell the news event, something happening. Like, for instance, like the growth stocks. Once that COVID vaccine was announced, it was like, all right, the growth stocks, they started taking a back seat to some of the other areas of the market. So what I'm thinking is like this infrastructure package or whatnot. Now that that is announced, I'm sort of wondering if that was like the period on this move into sort of like these value stocks and recovery plays, because most of those are back above their prior all-time highs or at their all-time highs, so they're no longer really like recovery plays in terms of the stocks themselves. Yeah, Dow Jones slipping a little bit. That's okay though. So now let's take a look. We'll pull up our Finviz Heat Map, and you can see. Oh my gosh. Okay, Finviz Heat Map. Yeah, so you can see here pretty much all these FANG names. They pulled back a bit yesterday, and now you can see they were incredibly strong today. So we had a lot of strength in the FANG names. Tesla was very strong, which typically when Tesla is strong, the other high growth, high valuation stocks are going to be strong as well. We had some strength in the semiconductors, and really nice extended range candles in a lot of these areas of the market. Really powerful moves. And part of me is wondering, like, okay, is that due to the rebalance where a lot of these names suffered for most of the month? So, to rebalance the portfolio, now you're adding into tech on month end. We'll have to see. Time will tell. I think, if anything, I take it as a positive sign. Given that it was month and quarter end, though, we just have to see how things follow through next month. Yeah, you can see the laggards for today. We had energy lagging. We had financials lagging. Industrials, those more so like recovery areas of the market. If we look at our sectors, you can see very similar story. This bottom half of our momentum list, all these sectors are very high beta. So like they can be super volatile, they move all over the place. And you can see a lot of these had really big days, essentially like upside volatility. So you can see here MSOS, which is the U.S. Cannabis ETF, up 7.86%. We had the ARC-G Genomics Fund up 5.11%. ARC Innovation was up as well, up 4.83%. So yeah, a lot of these higher growth, high beta areas of the market really strong. Then you can see here our top half of the sheet. This kind of does look like classic rebalancing flow where pretty much everything that's showing the strongest momentum saw some profit taking into month end. So you can see home builders, down slightly, down 0.5%. Transports, industrials. I actually shorted the industrials today. A lot of these areas, consumer staples, real estate, etc. If we take a look at our style factors today, you can see the high div, low vol. Seeing some profit taking here. Our leaders for today were the two areas on the bottom of the list, so growth and momentum. So even the more that I look at this, I think there's going to be some leaders within those areas that can really take off. For a while, it was just like no algorithms were buying these stocks. They were just like left for dead. Now we're starting to see some separation between the leaders and then, just other growth and momentum stocks that, are just kind of like bottom of the barrel, I would say, or middle of the road. And you can see value down slightly, min-vol down slightly. So let's take a look. We'll check out some of my trades for the day. And let's check it out. Okay. So we have here. So I was short in Iron, Butterfly, and Chewy. Closed that one out for a small loss here. This was an earnings trade. They're binary events. I took in a credit of 546 for this one. I took a debit of 710. And Chewy had a really nice earnings report. I listened to pretty much every single Chewy earnings call. My brother works at Chewy as well. He manages a warehouse for them. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with this company, and the results that they announced, in my opinion, were very positive. They achieved profitability. They have a lot of additional vectors for growth that I don't think are priced in, such as international expansion. Chewy, really squeezed the shorts in the morning. It was up at like $91. Ended up closing, on the lows of the day though, around like $84.71. But this is a stock that I feel really comfortable with. And, after looking through the results, I was like, okay, I'm exiting this iron butterfly, and I'm actually going to initiate a long position just for more like a long-term play here. See, I took off my iron butterfly. What else did I do here? Okay, I took off the remainder of my First Solar calls. I had paid $7.15 for those, took those off for $8.85. And First Solar, yeah, all these solar stocks, they looked pretty strong today. Yeah, First Solar bounced into this monthly value area low, and that's where we found resistance. So yeah, I took the remainder of my trade off the books there. Yeah, and then this is where, I started to fade a couple of things. So I got long some Plug Power May 35 strike puts for $4.84. And Plug was actually, I had a really nice run with this name to the upside. I believe it was in 2021. May have been in January. But yeah, Plug at this point, it's very weak. It's lost a lot of its momentum. And we have this virgin point of control here down at about 27.09. They actually had to restate their accounting because there were some errors in their accounting. So yeah, this is when I feel comfortable going to the short side with when things are a little bit extended. So I took on those puts in Plug Power. I also took on some puts in the industrials. So I got along the September 17th 100 strike puts. And the industrials, what I'm seeing here is just that, we have this infrastructure package, and there was no positive reaction to the infrastructure package. So to me, that's like, all right, we're pretty extended from the 20-day moving average. Every stock makes periodic pullbacks to the 20-day. And, it's pretty weak on the session. I'm seeing a lot of these names. Like, for instance, I'll pull them up here because I just think it's really funny. I've brought these up a couple times. But the two main offenders for me are Deere. This is the weekly chart, and you can see how extended it is from the 20-period moving average. And Caterpillar, even worse. If you look how extended this is from the 20-period moving average. So I'm just seeing this with a lot of these industrials names where they're just very extended. So especially as the market, moves to a new all-time high, it's kind of, at the upper end of its recent range. I did take on a couple of shorts, so I was like, all right, I'll go with the industrials. So we'll see how that goes. And then I took some Facebook 295 strike calls for April. This is more like a short-term play here because I only use, 2-week options. These, they're position size for max loss. And I think I'm pretty much just going to hold on to them for the next 2 weeks and just see what happens. As Facebook, I'm looking at this price action. This looks really positive for me. So if you look here, Facebook, you can see had a really nice run up to the upper end of this base that it's been in for the past, 6 months in September. Then it had a shallow pullback, and now you can see it's moving higher again here. So with my calls, I have the 295 strikes. I paid $8 and change for those. So essentially it's saying, hey, like, in order for me to win this trade, Facebook has to be greater than about like 303.90 into this options expiration. And I do like the chances that Facebook actually breaks out here. So yeah, added that one onto the books. Now let's see what I did here for some stock trading. Yeah, so I took some Chewy on for $88.01. We'll see what happens with Chewy. This one, like I said, reported a really strong earnings report. But yeah, the action was kind of faded a little bit. So I'll have to see what Chewy does, over the next days, weeks, months. And we'll see. This is definitely one that I want to add to the trend portfolio, though, which is a bit more long term. I also entered into Digital Turbine for $80.34. And you can see apps here. This is one of my go-to names. I trade this one quite frequently. You can see Digital Turbine closed above the 20-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. So really strong name. And I think if these growth stocks really get going, I could see Digital Turbine getting up to the $100 mark again. So yeah, I was like, if the growth stocks are back in, I need to get into, one of my favorite names in that group. Then I took on some MP common stock, Mountain Pass. This is another name. I've held Mountain Pass since it was FVAC. So I have cost basis in this for maybe like $11 and change. But yeah, this is a name I also like to actively trade it. So MP took it on for $34.96. And MP, you can see this one, it's holding the bottom of this monthly value area. Granted, tomorrow we're going to have a new monthly value area right here. And it closed above the 5-day exponential moving average. I actually took a target in MP, took off 20% of the position. At $35.90, I had paid $34.96. So that one I was like, I'll take a target, lower my cost basis, and I'll hold the rest and see how it trades. But yeah, MP, really strong business. They just did an equity offering recently, which really torpedoed the stock. But they had really nice results, too, for their earnings. So when they reported earnings, they were up here, in the high 40s. Now, once the equity offering was announced, man, they really, got clobbered. So I'll have to see what MP does. And the other one I did, just to clean things up a little bit, especially into month end. What I think is really important for month end is, the best time to turn over a new leaf in terms of your trading really is, at the end of the month. Really, it's always a good time to turn over a new leaf in your trading. But especially, too, once you're like, okay, my performance for the month is in, let me just make sure I'm going in with, all the best assets that I can have into that new month. Etsy, what I noticed about this one is it just wasn't really that strong today. So Etsy, yeah, this one, let me pull it up on the daily chart. So yeah, Etsy, it really hasn't, this stock was definitely a leader for quite some time. But yeah, you can see today, we pulled up to the 20-day moving average, and we had weakness throughout the day from there. So I was like, what, market, had a nice run today. I do want to take, another chip off the table. So let me take off something that really hasn't been performing for me. So Etsy, I'd taken off a third of my position for a nice winner at 230. I stopped out of the remainder of the position for 203 spot 02. So now, feeling good about entering this new month. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, this, apps I have on the books now. Another one that, looks pretty solid. I have some Baidu on. I have my call spreads still on the books. And those expire April 17th. I have the 190 by 200 call spread. Then I have the 195 by 200 call spread as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I would not mind at all if we got some sort of dip in the market, early in the session tomorrow, maybe like a pullback. It's that 5-day exponential moving average. We'll have to see. Let's take a look at some of this options order flow for today. And you can see the order flow is a lot more bullish today. So we had some call buyers going up for NVIDIA. These are very short-term calls too. So you can see these are the April 1st calls. You can see we had some Apple call buyers as well. Dropbox, which is a name I currently own, some calls going up for 2023, so leaps. That's interesting. IWM calls, you name it. Expedia, there was a lot of flow in this name. This is the name that I actually just closed out of yesterday for a winner. Yeah, you can see a lot of flow for Expedia. And you can see the strike they went with, the 60 strike. And I see some, yeah, this might be the same player. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it's probably the same player here, just putting on a big position. You can see these are the 60 strike calls, and they were kind of spraying them on throughout the day. And Expedia, let me take a look. This is one that, you know, I've traded to the bullish side a couple times. It's one of my better names in terms of trading. But yeah, it just started getting a little bit extended. And again, like some of these reopening names, yeah, I think they've gone very far very quickly. So yeah, Expedia, maybe it's just part of this rebalance where Expedia had a nice run, so it took a hit today. Yeah, I'll have to see. I'm actually going to set an alert for Expedia. Just to make sure here, I'm going to set an alert like right above this 20-day. All right, there we go. That about does it for our options order flow, and that about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had a great trading day, and I will see you all in the pre-market session tomorrow.